For the 3.5 years that I've been doing this whole YouTube game, I've pivoted my content like maybe a good handful of times with each new creative direction that I've gone in. But you know, it's the whole thing of like compromising whether you want to focus on art or catering to a specific audience for money making. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But I will say that this iteration is showing the smallest audience, but also the one that I connect with the most. And one theme of this evidence is the type of work that I get from this YouTube channel. A lovely side effect of my documentary work lately is this sort of spontaneous nature of people that have reached out to connect with me, whether it's to just hang out or to become friends or to photograph a specific story. But it's this lovely side of the internet with connecting with your friends online, offline. And we're going to talk about a very specific connection that happened recently that took me to Portugal.
Could time, missile, back, forward. I miss you, time, misuse, time, flies, life, issues.
Hardwired, forever seeking now.
Just landed in Lisbon, 8 a.m. local time. I did not sleep a wink at all. I probably got 1 hour. I felt like I was sitting on concrete the entire time, but I made it all in one piece. All bags accounted for, nothing lost. Time to meet up with Jan. There he is. How's it going, man?
Good. Early.
Yeah. His name is actually pronounced Jan, not Jan, and I've been completely mispronouncing his name for the entirety of the getting to know you period when we were talking through IG, and there's nothing more embarrassingly American than mispronouncing someone's name like that. But anyways, back to the story. Jan is a former German basketball player, born in that country, now is a business owner, creative, and operates on a farm in the countryside of Portugal. And we connected over the beautiful universal languages of photography and basketball. Comment down below if you ever connected with someone enough online that you ended up meeting them in person. Now I'm gonna keep it real with you. Whenever I travel solo to another country that I've never been to before, it is pretty daunting because of the logistical things that I have to organize with said guest. But creatively, it's even more daunting than anything that I just mentioned because I don't know what I'm gonna photograph, how I'm gonna do it, and all of us can relate with how hard it is to photograph a new place, let alone a new country. And it's the problem when you have so many options on what to photograph, but you're limited by time. Like you have to kind of pick one or two and make the hard decision of blocking out the other things that you could do. In this case, in Portugal, it's a beautiful country, but do you focus more of your time and energy in Lisbon? Do you focus all of that in the countryside, the coastlines, the small towns? Is it the people? Is it the architecture? It's just like, whoa, there's so much that you can't do in most countries, but Portugal is unique, and we're gonna get into that.
Not Jan.
Not Jan. Said that you used to play basketball in Germany.
Yes, I did.
But how did you end up here in Portugal in the countryside?
I think most kids don't enjoy school too much, and I think this basketball became my 24/7 in a way. I still really enjoy that sport. And Portugal, I mean, there was something in my professional career. I ran into this dead end where I realized that I can't continue like this, where just too much work, like having anxiety and being stressed out. Because I was always a big city kid. I always lived in bigger cities, and I don't know, there was some other stupid stuff. Like I enjoyed working out, moving. I always wanted my own gym because I'm super lazy, and whenever it rains or if like to drive somewhere for like 30 minutes, I'm gonna find a reason not to go, right? And so my own gym. And so when I came to this point, I'm like, okay, how would I live my life if I had all the money in the world? And I realized that a lot of these things that I wanted or needed and were actually quite accessible already. That's how I came up with this situation, like leaving the city lifestyle. And I connected with my friend Stefan, and we decided to move abroad into the middle of nothing. And here we kind of like created that, like having space, having quietness and peace, and a lot of space for creativity. We build a lot of stuff by ourselves. We host amazing people, super inspiring people. Yeah, that was the main reason.
What's up? Been a minute since we kicked it. You've been caught up with them. They don't get it. You're a star, love. shouldn't have to deal with that. I'd never make you feel like that. 'Cause I love me. I love me enough for the both of us. That's why you trust me. I know you've been through more than most of us. So what are you? What are you so afraid of? Darling, you give, but you cannot take love.
Yeah, I needed to hear that. I hate when you're submissive, passive aggressive when we're texting. I feel the distance. I look around at peers that surround me. These tripping. I like when money makes a difference, but don't make you different. Started realizing a couple places I could take it. I want to get back to when I was that kid in the basement.
Why did you want to connect with me, of all people?
Yeah, so I came across your YouTube channel, watching some of the videos, and I was like, yeah, like it's a really cool channel. You seem like a nice guy. One basketball video where I was like about to text you already, and I'm like, I saw this, and I'm like, oh cool, this really talks to me. This really is something that I can relate to, and just to see your perspective on stuff and to see how you tackle like photography and videography. That is something that I just wanted to know more about, and just to learn about the person behind the camera.
It is 5 a.m. in the morning, and Jan wants to go on a sunrise mission. I hate going on sunrise missions. Do you like going on sunrise missions? Oh, maybe you do. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I thought it was so fun that the first few phone calls that we went on, they were like 2.5 hour long conversations about basketball, about I don't think the season even started yet. Like I could always talk about like NBA with like anybody, but it's really awesome to be able to connect with someone who played, who watches like very like passionately. So our kind of I guess like depth of our conversation was like really, really fun.
No, it's definitely, you know what you said, like the knowledge is one thing. I feel also like the passion about something, right? Like being passionate about something, I feel is so important. One of the best things with social media and the internet in general is like you can find a group of people anywhere in the world that is so passionate about what you're passionate about. I mean, basketball obviously is a very broad topic, but it's like the same with photography or videography, like creating stuff visually.
One thing that I love when it comes to work are limitations. Now, I don't know if you could tell, but when I was on this farm, the movement is very slow. There's actually not much happening. And to some people, that might be a problem because it might not be either creatively stimulating or it might not present itself as like a lot of options for good looks. So for me now, it's a game of space, distance, angle, light, layers, and these limitations actually allow my workflow to blossom. Like I really love that kind of stuff. Like how can I tell a compelling and visually appealing story photographically when Jan is just catering to his farm? And these are the type of problems that I love to creatively solve. Another great example is the pool on the property. Now, a pool is a pool no matter which way you cut it. It's a hole in the ground with water in it, and there's not many great looks that you can get off of it, especially when there's nobody in the pool. So it's really fun getting layers and looks off this part to just show the daily life on this property. When there's more options, ironically, it becomes more difficult for me to actually lock in. It's not impossible, but it's harder for me to focus, if you know what I mean. What I'm about to say, I said in another video, so if you want, you can watch that right here, but I am trying to make active efforts in creating more contextual photos with more breathing room, with more air to kind of balance out my close up and personal work. Because as with anything, and maybe this applies for everyone, is that when I find something exciting, I kind of go full bore into it. And in this case, it was the feature of getting closer in photography. And I love doing that, but I start to get a little bit too much of it, where it starts to feel like my work was getting a little bit too hot. So getting these like farther back contextual shots with that breathing room, like I just said, it kind of balances that out. But bottom line is I feel like I achieved that balance here, and you know, I just thought I should share that with you. So Jan, what do you do in the countryside in Portugal? Like honestly, like why don't you like live in Lisbon or like some big city area?
We host people. The idea is to focus on stuff that they want to work on, like writing their PhD, being creative, you know, like being away from the distraction as much as we try to live. And we also host retreats, movement retreats, photography retreats, mainly yoga retreats. You can hear it even now, like this is so quiet, there's no distraction, there's no people like no Amazon is ringing on your doorbell, or yeah, you don't have to focus on other stuff. So one thing I really struggled in the city with was that everywhere you go there's people, and when you want to take a picture and you go to a park and you have a treat, there's always someone in the background. You're always like, someone is disturbing, you can't leave your camera equipment on the floor and something. I think here it's just really, you can just really build something and just take all the time in the world. And I think that's something, when you're not on a rush, creativity is on an all-time high. And yeah, I think that's something so different when you go to Central Park. There's such a limited space, even though it's a gigantic environment, but here that's not the case. You can just do whatever you want.
What I loved most about this trip was the level of hospitality that I experienced. Jan pretty much carried all the logistics for the trip and was generous enough to open up his home and his businesses to me, while also bringing me to the coastline in the south, small towns in the west, and also the city of Lisbon. And while I stayed on the property, there was cooked meals every single day, which was so nice, and they were really healthy. And going back to what I said in the beginning of this video, I can't imagine many places off the top of my head that would allow me to do this many things, because most countries, again, you have to pick what you want and gotta save the rest for another trip. But here I was able to do almost everything, of course with the help of Jan, but also the country of Portugal is so small that there's a highly attainable level of variety that you can experience from a photographic or filmmaking standpoint. It's just, you get almost everything, and it's crazy that I did all of that in just a span of 7 days. And if you made it to this part of the video, I'm extremely excited to inform you that I'll be hosting a photography workshop there next year in March of 2024. The workshop will revolve mainly around documentary storytelling in both photo and video, like you've seen in this video. And what's nice about this workshop is that we can spend 7 days together on this lovely plot of land, practicing photography, eating together, and even going on local day trips. If you're interested, there's a link down in the description box below if you want to sign up for that workshop for late March of next year. And I believe this is going to be a wonderful opportunity for all of us. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like this video if you want, subscribe, comment down below about what you thought, and hopefully I'll see you guys next year in Portugal. Peace.